Appointment setters, motivation is all in the mind, right? It can be hard for sure to dial tons and tons a day. And, when I've done dialing, when I used to do door to door sales, some things I would do to motivate myself would be this, what I'm about to talk about in this video. So, the first thing you're going to want to do, keep your motivation high, to keep your spirits high, is do the math. You're going to want to reverse engineer your paycheck. So, you on an offer should be tracking everything. You should know exactly how many dials, how many dials create how many pickups on average, how many pickups on average create how many conversations lead to how many sets actually show to the appointments. Out of the sets that show to the appointments, how many get offered? Out of the ones that get offered, how many close? Out of the ones that close, what is the average order value, what's the deal size, what's the average cash collected, what's the revenue, how many due deposits, all that good stuff. You should have it all the way down to how much commission you make on average per uh, obviously sale. Then you can take the end and the beginning number and divide it, right? Divide it by itself or each other. And then let's say, 1,000 dials you made, after 1,000 dials, you made $1,000 for simple. That means every single dial on average, you earned a dollar. So the next thing I'm going to do is assign the dollar value to each action or just to the main input action that I don't like doing, which is dialing, right? So if I'm like, okay, after 1,000 dials, I made $1,000 on average, each dial is a dollar. And then I would tell myself, I would imagine that every single time I pick up the phone to call, every single time I dial someone, I'm getting a dollar deposited into my bank account. I'm making a dollar per call. And then I would just chase the inputs, right? And I'm like, okay, and then I would say, okay, cool. Dialing's exciting now. I can just dial. Every time I dial, I'm just like, yeah, dollar, 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 dollar. Numbers are going to play out somewhere in that ballpark. And obviously, the longer you are on an offer, the more data you have, the more accurate this number will become. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but you should be in the ballpark. Then you're going to want to take that number, take the dials, and multiply it by you know, multiply it by the amount you want to make. So if you want to make 5K a month, 6K a month, 7, 10K a month, then you can see exactly how many dials you need to do in a month in order to come out somewhere near your goal commission. Then you just chase that number, right? If you're like, okay, I want to make 10K a month and I make a dollar per dial, I need to do 10,000 dials this month. If I need to do 10,000 dials this month, I need to do X amount of dials per week. If I need to do amount of dials per week, I need to do X amount of dials per day. And I'm going to just hit that. I'm not going to worry about anything else but hitting that amount of dials per day. I'm just going to focus there. I'm just going to focus on the inputs and allow the outputs, allow the commissions, allow everything else to be a byproduct of the work that I'm doing. And as long as I hit that number per day, I've won. And guess what? If the number is just too high for you to hit after you do that math, then we either got to improve your skill set. You either got to, you know, some numbers have to change, right? Improve skill set, improve the quality of the calls that you're booking, improve the close rate, improve the cash collected per close. There's something there that you can play with, and there's so many ways to do that. That's obviously something that you can, work out with your team on how to improve those things. But you have to start there at least. Start with that input number and just chase it. Just chase it for a month, 2 months, chase it for 90 days and see what happens. Because I time and time again, I talk to appointment setters who don't do this math. And then when we sit down and we go through the math, we realize that they're not hitting their goals, not because the offer can't do it, not because uh, whatever. It's because they're just super inconsistent with the inputs that they're putting in because they're playing it by feel, right? They're on these calls and they're dialing and they're like, some days they do 100 dials, some days they do 200 dials, some days they do 50 dials, some days they do 20 dials, some days they do 150 dials, some days they do 70 dials. And then they wonder why their results are so inconsistent because their inputs are inconsistent. And their inputs are inconsistent because they just don't know what they're going for. They're just shooting in the dark. They're just going for whatever and waiting to see if sales come to get motivated to dial more. Right. So Reverse engineer it, start there. And if you're brand new on an offer and you don't know what those numbers are, go find out someone else and go look at what the team's average is and start with those numbers, right? If there's a lot of people on the team, don't take the number one star player standout. Take the average of everyone on the team, or take someone that's middle of the pack, or take someone that's slightly below, and then start with those numbers. Hit that every day for a few weeks, for a few months, and then take a look and see what the data says, see what happens, and then you can make adjustments there. And if you have good leadership on your team, or you have a mentor, coach, whoever that knows what they're doing, that can sit down and go through the data with you and see where improvements need to be made, you can do that, and you should be able to make some serious progress. And you should be able to stay motivated, because you know what you're trying to achieve every day. If you don't know what you're trying to achieve every day, if you don't know what you need to hit on dials, if you don't know what you should hit on sets, if you don't know, because you're like, well, 3 sets, 5 sets, 10 sets sounds like a good number, because who knows, maybe I'll make money. If you don't know, hey, if I do this many dials, I should make this on track earnings at the end of the month, then you're just shooting in the dark and you're hoping for stuff to happen. And we can't survive off hoping. So try that. Hopefully it helps. And I'll see you in the next video.